What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Go Power Rankings. I am not Datila. I'm not singing. I am Geoff, but alongside me, so that's supposed to be a big reveal. Alongside me, no relation to Steve Macklin, Burt Macklin. What's going on, buddy?
How's it going? How's it going?
That obviously you didn't get to talk about impact on XTV or emergence since it's happened. So let me hear it, Burt. What's your opinion?
I think that show, again, I think that you could say that was, not the best show, but Impact's slow shows are still just as good, as everyone else's, or they're better than everyone else's normal shows. Like Impact once again put in, I think, another B+ to A- effort. One thing that I think as we look on the road to Victory Road and Bound for Glory, quote that Tom Hannafin said that during the Bill and Ray Horace match was that because of Impact's open door policy, it allows for all kinds of dream matchups. And I think as we get down for Glory, that's what I think we could see anybody come in and get a match. Mike Bailey's pretty much defended the belt against a who's who of people, from Alan Angels to, I'm blanking on some names. I don't know who anyone's opponent's going to be at Bound for Glory, so I think the possibilities are absolutely endless.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to the road to Bound for Glory. It's 7 Fridays away, I believe. There's a short turnaround for Victory Road, so we expect Victory Road just to kind of be a whatever. But I'm with you, B+, A- somewhere in there. I thought there were some little things, but other than that, it was a damn good show. And you hit the nail on the head there. So we'll get to see what everyone thought about the power. That's why it made it more difficult for me about the power ranks. I'm excited to talk about this. I know you guys have a flow of it, so I'm all over the place. I'll try to get back in the scheme of it. But there's just so much to talk about with emergence. So before we get into that, if someone sees this and says, "Man, these rankings suck," I could make a difference. How could they make a difference, Burt?
All you have to do is hit me up on Twitter, BurtMackin11. A DM or message works. And just as Geoff says, if you want to improve the rankings, you think we could do a better job, join them. Get your opinion in there. Let your opinion be heard. We're just looking for people who love Impact. And if you love Impact and can get out a quick top 10 every week, it's that simple. Join the rankings. We'd love to have you.
Number 10, Digital Media Champion, Brian Myers. Number 9, Bandito. Number 8, the HBIC, Mia Yim. Number 7, Alex Shelley. Number 6, Death Machine, Sami Callihan. Number 5, Tag Team Champions, Vexed. Number 4, X Division Champion, Mike Bailey. Number 3, Honor No More. Number 2, World Champion Jordan Grace. Number 1, World Champion Josh Alexander.
Whoa, so we had 2 unsuccessful challengers that made the list, so they get their flowers, which is dope. Bandito is 1 for 1, who you just mentioned, Bandito. Sami's jumping up into the top 4 now that he qualifies. Is there something on here that surprises you the most? Maybe it's a lack of somebody's presence, or it is somebody's presence.
I don't know if it's a lack of a presence. I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised that we don't see Chris Sabin. But I think it was Alex Shelley's night. Not Chris Sabin not win, but it was more about Alex Shelley getting his shine. And he didn't win in one hell of an effort.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I know we have talked about it back and forth about the Motor City Machine Guns. When do you separate them? When I think this is the moment. Chris Sabin lost his match with what looks to be a formidable tag team. I guess they're going to have like a Freebird style team going forward. And Alex had one of the best matches of the year for Impact. And now twice with Sabin and now this. So I have a feeling they'll all be back together going the tapings forward. But to put on a little positive note, not that wasn't, what makes you, when you look at this, what makes you the happiest for Impact? When you see this top 10, you're like, oh, shit.
Well, I think just going back to what I said before, that like just won this week, but Bandito's on the list.
Mhm.
He's signed Impact. So, and so I just think going forward, you could see anybody in the top 10, especially if they're going to come in and have hot matches like that and, really like to show up. I think that's the possibilities are endless with who you could see in the top 10.
Yeah, and now obviously we're a spoiler-free show. There's been tapings that kind of lead towards Victory Road. We don't know them yet. We could see kind of the matches happening. It looks like Bandito and Horace are staying around for at least these tapings, which is dope. It looks like Bandito might be in a qualifier or a number one contendership match. I obviously haven't got to talk to face about it, but you've been saying on the show, quite rightfully so, on and on about Eddie Edwards is the matchup for Josh Alexander. Is that you still think that's the route they go? And with Honor No More taking that huge victory over Bullet Club, kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, I do think that's where they're going, but the more I've watched Eddie, and I don't know what clicked. I think we have talked about this in the group chat before. Something really hit me last night when Eddie was cutting when at Emergence, when Eddie was cutting his promo.
Oh no.
He pretty much cuts like someone has said, it's the same promo. It's 100 different ways. How can they say that we're like, we're the underdogs, or we've been the looked over?
Right.
But like I said before, at the end of the day, I think this was the turn that Eddie needed to make to get himself a world title run. Whether it's a short one or a long one, I'm not one for short reigns, but I do think we're going towards him versus Josh at Bound for Glory. I think that's the obvious next step.
So my next question to that is, and I can kind of see where you're going. Josh has been on the Power Rankings 22 out of 26 weeks. Is this, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 23 out of 26. But either way, on 22 in a row. Is Bound for Glory the time where we finally see Josh? You think Eddie's you would take it if that's the matchup?
Yeah, I think all good things have to come to an end. Josh's time he's pretty much has been the run with a torch of Impact, on the Power Rankings and in real life on the show. Someone else has to take it. No shame there.
No, it's fair. I just and I love Eddie. There's nothing against that or against him whatsoever. I just think I'm ready for some new talent now. I to step up to that world title picture. Now I know you and I won't agree on some of those, including his Honor No More brethren. There's someone in there that I think could be a main eventer. But it looks like they're going for the tag team titles anyway. So, if they are saying the same shtick and it is becoming the same promo, maybe on the verge to Bound for Glory, some gold could change that up, and they could start talking about a different narrative.
And real quick, going back to Taven, because I don't think Honor No More should break up. I don't think Honor No More should break up at all. But I would be totally fine if down the road Taven's the one that takes the belt off Eddie. Because the main event scene, we're always looking to elevate from within. That's what strength is. So Taven taking the belt off Eddie I would be totally fine with.
All right, now say that doesn't happen. We'll take away from the world title scene, or maybe it is part of the world title scene. I don't know. I'll see where your thinking is. But when you stare at this top 10, and you obviously are familiar with it being on the show, seeing it weekly. Is there someone that's just like always glaring? Like, where is this person? This is who I want to see elevated by Bound for Glory. Stick with the elevating thing. Is there someone that you do want to see? Maybe it's not world title, but is there someone that's on there that's just like, come on, guys, like this guy needs that rub?
Well, I definitely would like to see. Well, I think the way things are going, I don't see why Mike Bailey shouldn't eat higher than he is, just because I think I don't know the number, but I think he had 2 back-to-back defenses in 24 hours. I think it's 6 total. I think he's a wrestler that no one's talking about, that people should be talking about for being one of the best champions in all of wrestling. And I would love to see him higher. Forrest, no, it's not low, but
right,
it'd be higher.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. And I mean the way he's representing the X division, I think it comes down to what you said earlier as well in the show. You know, like okay, I remember Alan Angels. I remember he just wrestled Jack Evans, and there was Romero and Trey and whoever. I'm missing someone in there as well. But there's no feud. There's no like meat to that. And we talked about it on the show this week just because Mike Bailey, like even though I watched the whole show anyways, if you're not an avid fan of Impact, like you gotta turn on when this kid's wrestling. Like no matter if it's a fucking BTI or a digital media match or exclusive or it's Impact or a pay per view, he's always delivering, man, and elevating the game of whoever. Diener, was that who it was?
Yeah, Diener.
Yeah, because I remember us being pleasantly surprised by that match. I don't know. We talked about on the show. Gail had made a mention of something of a new face. Could it be a look of the show? Could it be a new person in here? If there's, I want someone to give Josh a run for their money. Doesn't mean Josh. I want him to be brought down or whatsoever. But I want someone for us to say like, well, we know Josh is going to be on their week, and now maybe that's Jordan. Jordan finally got the place at number 2 after a couple good weeks of shit. She's also a world champion. I just mean like it'd be cool to see someone like we're like who's gonna take it, Josh or this one on, because generally it's Josh. But there's one other thing I want to mention, another champion I want to mention that made the rankings, and this is where I got one more question for you. Pick your brain. When you were making these rankings, was there anyone that you had to leave off that you were just like, damn, I didn't want to leave that person off? Because there's someone I put on that is a champion that I had to leave Masha off for. And I don't know if that was someone you voted for or not.
The only person I didn't struggle to put on, but like I didn't vote for the Bullet Club, I don't think. And just I think they didn't, I'm not saying they didn't deserve it, but it didn't feel right for them to be on just because they lost on Sunday. I mean, on Friday, that was like the lasting impression. But what about you?
Well, so the person that was hard to leave off was Masha, especially when you gave me the rankings. It was like a 2-point swing for her and Myers, and I had to go Myers, man, because not only did he to slay the dragon that is Gujar, the overly pushed Gujar, he was rocking a White Ranger outfit. He had the Power Ranger suit on, so he had to make the power rankings. He made it at 10, which is the Green Ranger. So I thought we could celebrate that at least. So I had to put him on there.
He's grown on me as a great comic like heel. He and you know what? I don't think this is something I would said, especially when we saw him against Christian or Kenny. When he got
you're right.
Title.
Christian.
I could see Brian Myers and would have no problem as him as world champion. But there's just something over the top heels. I've always, it was almost like I didn't like him, but
it's the White Ranger outfit. Is that?
I'm blanking on his name, but like the guy in WWE, forget his name, but the guy that was part of the 3-man band.
Heath.
Jinder. When he was over the top, there's just something about an over the top heel. If done right, I'm totally fine with. They don't have to be credible in the ring necessarily, but how Brian Myers is ducking Bhupinder all the time. I like that. I think it's comical, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, man. They really, sometimes we miss. Everyone complains sometimes about too much comedy and Impact, but I feel like there's been a lack recently. And these little vignettes of him talking to just random workers or whatever they are, and just shitting on the person that he's gonna defend, just good shit, man. But all right, man. I'll leave it off on that because I agree with you, and that's a good thing to end off on, man. I really enjoyed that. Datila will be back here. It'll be easy watching again next week when I'm out of the picture. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I served you well as a side co-host. It was a pleasure, Burt. Anything you want to tell the people before we head out?
I just think, as always, you always have to pay attention to Impact, because I think a perfect example is look at Emergence. Usually at pay-per-view, there's shows where you think you're going to be able to go get something to drink, dig a sandwich. The first part of Sami Callihan and Macklin, that was all throughout the ring. It was all throughout the show. You had to watch the whole show to pay attention to that match. So just pay attention to Impact.
Yep, especially on the victory road to Bound for Glory. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.